Weatherscope is sponsored by Lexus. The future of Lexus is here. Fasten your seat belts.
This is Weatherscope.
And good morning, I'm Cheryl Lemke. The first widespread winter event of the season is affecting places from the Midwest to the Northeast this morning. Winter storm warnings are in effect as freezing rain and sleet and snow make the morning commute a rough one for many. Expect the usual airport delays due to the mixed bag of weather. In a moment, we'll check in again with our live crew from Albany, New York. But first, an update from Rick Griffin in the Forecast Center. Good morning, Rick.
Good morning to you, Cheryl. Thanks a lot. Well, this early winter-like storm has already brought nearly a foot of snow to the southern tier of New York State, while quite an ice storm is weighing down tree limbs and power lines from central Pennsylvania into southern sections of New England. Now, as I show you radar, I'll describe to you that Worcester, Massachusetts, heavy freezing rain once again, and the temperature has dropped to 22 degrees. So it's a mess around Worcester. Highways are icy, and again, the tree limbs are probably drooping with the weight of the ice accumulating, and it is a rapid accumulation with that heavy freezing rain and a 22-degree temperature. Same deal around Hartford and Springfield. Moderate to heavy freezing rain, temperature readings right now upper 20s to around 30. Moderate snow, Concord, New Hampshire, White River Junction in Vermont, around the Lake George area of New York. Syracuse and Buffalo also reporting light to moderate snow and gusty winds, while the freezing rain continues around Williamsport, Pennsylvania. Plain rain right now in New York City, but those of you traveling north out of the city around Pleasantville, you'll encounter some ice, and that goes for the interior of northern New Jersey and southern sections of Connecticut. Also, a place where the highways are a bit slushy and snow-covered, but there's not much snow falling right now, is the Capital District of New York State, where our Mike Seidel is stationed. Good morning to you, Mike.
Good morning, Rick. Weather here not too bad this morning. If you like winter weather here in mid-November, 24 degrees. The wind chill is running between 5 and 10. We've had a couple of inches of snow and sleet. One thing we haven't had, as you mentioned, all those areas like Hartford and Worcester getting slammed with freezing rain. We've had very little, if any, freezing rain. So the glaze has not been a problem. Trees coming down on power lines have not been a problem. The roads are in pretty good shape here in town. They've been salted and cleared a couple of times. You can see the salt and what little radiation which is coming through the clouds today, believe it or not, is being soaked up by this black asphalt. So the roads are generally wet and a little slushy at spots, but in pretty good shape. And so the driving isn't too bad here in town. Sidewalks are a little slipperier, so if you've got rubber-soled shoes on like my snow boots, you got to be extra careful. We're not expecting any threat of this thermometer getting even close to freezing today. So what is out here will stay here. And again tonight, when temperatures continue in the 20s, we'll see whatever slushy freeze back up. We're also looking for some more snowfall right on through this evening. Schools are closed today. Highways out in suburbia, out in the hills, are in pretty poor shape. But again, the roads here in town and the interstates, the thruway, are in pretty good shape too. Rick?
Thanks a lot. Mike Seidel in Albany, New York. We'll check in with you. Stay warm there in the Capital District. Well, from Albany, we go to Boston, Massachusetts, where winter weather gear is out this morning. No doubt about that. Your day began with a mix of rain, sleet, and snow. Winds gusting to 30 miles an hour, and it's cold, too. In the 30s in the city, 20s in the suburban areas like in Fitchburg, Leominster, and Worcester. With the wind chill, it feels like readings are in the single digits at this particular time. By the way, the precipitation probably changing to all rain in downtown Boston and around Logan Field, but west of 128 or 495 especially, that wintry mix will continue with quite an ice storm out towards Worcester and Athol and into the Connecticut Valley. All right, here's the setup. We've got a big upper low in the nation's midsection, disturbances coming around that, and a vast trough of low pressure, which is supporting the surface low, which is still off the Delmarva Peninsula. In fact, actually, we have a double-barreled type system with one low center over Kentucky and another one in this position. And we do expect the coastal low to eventually become the primary low-pressure center and move up into the Gulf of Maine sometime this evening. As that happens, the precipitation will taper off. In the meantime, it's widespread. And again, the rain-snow line stretches across southern New Hampshire into the southern tier of New York State. Pockets of heavy snow continue in this region, while it's an icy mess over southern New England, the interior of southern New York, and central sections of Pennsylvania. And while the precipitation is beginning to taper off some here, notice there are additional batches of precipitation moving towards the northeast. We have the ice and the sleet and the snowfall, which could total upwards of a foot in the southern Adirondacks by midnight tonight. Also the Green Mountains of Vermont. And those small 1 foot areas will be surrounded by a large area of 6 to 12 inches, including you folks in Sanford and Portland, Maine, Concord, New Hampshire, the Lake Winnipesaukee area, probably the Lake George region, and the Adirondack Park area will certainly see upwards of 1 foot of snow. After all, the southern tier of New York has already seen almost a foot. That would be in Schuyler County in the little town of Burdett. It's a cold day, temperatures 20s and 30s. Wind chills are cold, and don't forget along the coast we do have gale warnings in effect, and there is a potential for coastal flooding along the Long